Hey, my name is Mike, and this is a too long didn't read guide for Elerethe Renferal on Mythic. If you touch any of the eggs on these platforms, ads will spawn. The boss will start off in spider form. She'll link 2 players together with Web of Pain. 2 random players will get linked together as well as 2 of the tanks. For this reason, we use 3 tanks. This will make it so any damage the one linked player takes will also be transferred to the other player. Being further away from each other makes it so you take more damage, so try to get close together. Anyone who runs through the link will get knocked back. And ranged, if a melee has this, go to them. The further away you are from this big green circle, the less damage you take. This targets a random person in the raid. When the boss drops down, she covers a large portion of the room in death that slowly recedes. After this happens, spiderlings will spawn. If they're too close to the boss, they will buff her, so make sure to tank them away from her. The spiderlings will put a stacking dot on their target. When they die, they leave a green puddle on the ground. Necrotic venom is a debuff that is put on a couple people. When it expires, you'll get a 5-second dot that drops a green pool every second underneath you. She'll eventually transform into a raven and do a raid-wide AoE pushback. In this phase, she'll also put twisting shadows on a couple people. If you have this, you can actually run over the green pools and get rid of them, but you are still taking damage from them, so it may or may not be a good thing to do this. After a few seconds, you'll spawn a purple tornado, so make sure not to stand in that. The tornadoes will move around. If they touch a green pool, they'll spawn these green swirlies you need to avoid. Don't stand in front of the boss when she turns to a random person and does Razor Wing. Raking Talons is done on the tanks multiple times in a row. This does a lot of damage and puts a stacking debuff on you that increases the damage you take from this by 100% per stack. Tanks will need to be swapping for this. Throughout the fight, the boss will move between platforms. As she moves, she does a raid-wide AoE until you engage her on the next platform. To get to the next platform, you have to just cross the bridge. However, these bridges usually have a tornado on them, and there's also eggs nearby, so make sure to be very cautious as to where you're standing. In Razor form, when she flies off to another platform, she'll actually spawn these feathers on the ground. When you pick one up, the next jump you do will be really high up into the sky, and then you'll glide down. You'll also get an extra action button that if you press, you'll kind of like heroic leap onto the ground, and this will kill any spiderlings that you happen to leap onto, so try to do that if you can. On the first platform, we tanked Elerethe on one side. Tank links went on one side and the other links went on the other. After Vile Ambush, we moved to the other side. The ads were always killed on the side near the bridges. After the second ambush, we moved to about the middle of the platform and placed our backs against the wall for the Gathering Clouds pushback that was coming up. Up to this point, all our necrotic venoms were placed on the side with the eggs. Tornadoes were placed off to the side. On the second platform, Vile Ambush will no longer cover the room in death. Her new ability here is Violent Winds. She leaps to a random location and then shoots a wind out in front of her. My guild had a tank turn her away from the raid and pop as many defensives as he could to stay alive. If they died, we would just battle res them. With this strategy, the rest of your raid needs to play perfectly, as battle reses will be reserved for tanks. All of our offensive cooldowns were used during the first Violent Winds. On this platform, we placed tornadoes by the entrance to the platform. Venom was placed on the wall near the platform we ran from, and ads were also killed near there. We tried to fight the boss by the next platform we were going to. On the third platform, she no longer does Violent Winds. Instead, she will spawn these eggs around the room. Touching these eggs will spawn ads and get rid of the egg, which is what you want to do if your DPS is lacking. When the boss goes up for Vile Ambush and then lands, any active eggs will bust and spawn a ton of ads. On this platform, we dropped tornadoes off to the sides and rot by the wall where we came from. The boss was just positioned wherever we had room. Defensive cooldowns were used for Vile Ambush and Gathering Clouds. Personal cooldowns were used on linked players for rot and when crossing platforms, especially the last one. So that was a too long didn't read guide for Elerethe Renferal on Mythic. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know down below in the comments. Thanks for watching. Have an A1 day.